A man by name Theodor Herzl, considered as the father of modern political Zionism. He was an Austro-Hungarian journalist and political thinker. Although Jewish communities had long hoped for a return to their ancestral homeland, a religious or spiritual aspiration, Herzl transformed this hope into a modern political movement. He was started publication with the name of The Jewish State, Der Judenstaat, in 1896. The aim of the publication: 1. The publication highlighted the issue of Jewish persecution and discrimination is not social or religious, but national. 2. The Jews should establish a state of their own, secured by international law. 3. Options for location. Palestine was preferred due to its historical and religious significance, but other options like Argentina were considered. 4. Herzl proposed a practical plan, forming a Jewish company to handle economic affairs and a society of Jews to organize political and legal efforts. Theodor Herzl organized the First Zionist Congress, held in Basel, Switzerland from August 29th to 31st in 1897, was a landmark event to lay the foundation of the Zionist movement. Around 200 delegates attended from 17 different countries, including prominent Jewish leaders, intellectuals, and activists mostly from Europe and America. Purpose: the Congress was the first organized meeting of the Zionist movement, aiming to unite Jews behind a political objective of establishing a Jewish homeland, build a formal structure for the Zionist movement, launch diplomatic efforts with world powers. Key outcomes: 1. The Basel Program declared the aim of Zionism as to establish a home for the Jewish people in Palestine. 2. Formation of the World Zionist Organization, WZO, a formal international body to lead the Zionist movement. Herzl was elected as its president. 3. Creation of Zionist institutions. Plans were made to create financial and organizational tools to support Jewish immigration and settlement in Palestine. Later institutions would include the Jewish National Fund, 1901, and others. Herzl wrote in his diary, "At Basel, I founded the Jewish state. If I said this out loud today, I would be greeted with universal laughter. Perhaps in 5 years, and certainly in 50, everyone will know it." Amazingly, exactly 51 years later, in 1948, the State of Israel was declared. Historical significance. The publication of The Jewish State provided ideological and theoretical grounding for Zionism. The First Zionist Congress transformed the idea into a political movement with structure, leadership, and direction. These events internationalized the Jewish aspiration for a homeland and laid the diplomatic and political groundwork for what would become Israel in 1948. My dear friends, after the efforts of Theodor Herzl Balfour Declaration, the struggle of the Zionist movement had its first historic victory in 1917, when Great Britain pledged its support for the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people. 5 years later, this commitment turned into the Balfour Declaration, was incorporated into the Charter of the Mandate over former Ottoman Palestine entrusted assigned to the United Kingdom by the League of Nations. Then Jews presented only 1 out of 10 Palestine's inhabitants. This proportion had more than doubled by 1933 as a result of Zionist voluntarism encouraged by the British authorities. Palestine had approximately 235,000 Jews and 900,000 Arabs at that time. Jewish immigration was supervised on behalf of the World Zionist Organization by the Jewish Agency, based in Palestine and appointed to issue residence visas. In January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler came into power in Berlin. The Zionist Federation of Germany and Nazi government signed a pact transfer agreement called Havari on August 25, 1933. Through this transfer agreement, 60,000 Jews emigrated from Germany to Palestine under the same agreement. This influx of people and capital played a crucial role in the development of the Jewish community in Palestine. They imported German goods, included machinery, building materials, and agriculture equipment, which helped boost the economy of the Yishuv, the Jewish community in Palestine, after the first success of Balfour Declaration II in the form of UN Partition Plan in 1947. UN Resolution 181 which is a historic resolution success for Zionist regime. Under this resolution, the United Nations General Assembly recommended the partition of Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem under international administration. The plan was accepted by the Jewish community but rejected by the Arab states and the Palestinian Arab leadership. Declaration of Independence. 1. Proclamation. On May 14, 1948, David Ben-Gurion, the head of the Jewish Agency, proclaimed the establishment of the State of Israel at Tel Aviv. Ben-Gurion read the Declaration of Independence. Right after the Proclamation of Independence, the Arab-Israel War started. In 1948, the major cause for the war was UN Partition Plan, 1947, the United Nations General Assembly Resolution. 181 proposed partitioning Palestine into two states, one Jewish and one Arab, with Jerusalem as an international city. Jews accepted the plan. Arabs rejected it, seeing it as unjust because Jews were allotted 55% of the land, though they were only about 33% of the population. Nakba, the catastrophe, 1948. On May 14, 1948, Israel declared independence. The next day, Arab armies, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon, invaded Palestine without any proper plan. As usual brainless regimes, it resulted the huge catastrophe called as Nakba. Over 750,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from their homes, and UN was granted 55% of the land to Israel. Israel won the war and expanded its territory to about 78% of mandatory Palestine. Massacres taken place. Deir Yassin massacre, April 9, 1948. Over 100 Palestinian villagers were killed by the Irgun and Lehi, Zionist paramilitary groups. Source of the information: Benny Morris, The Birth of the Palestinian Refugee Problem, 1947 to 1949, Cambridge University Press. Despite UN Resolution 194 calling for the return of refugees, Israel refused to allow Palestinian refugees back because their lands were declared absentee property and confiscated. Subsequently, Israel destroyed over 400 Palestinian villages to prevent the return of refugees and to erase Arab presence. Source of information: UN General Assembly. Resolution 194-3, 1948. Ilan Pappé, book The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine, 2006. Six-Day War, June 1967. Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. Result: Israel occupied the West Bank from Jordan, Gaza Strip from Egypt, East Jerusalem, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights from Syria. More 300,000 Palestinians became refugees again. UNSC Resolution 242 called for withdrawal from occupied lands, but Israel did not comply till date. Source of information: UN Security Council. Resolution 242, 1967, Israeli settlements. Begin late 1960s to till date. Israel began building Jewish-only settlements in the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, which completely illegal under international law as per Fourth Geneva Convention. Example: Ma'ale Adumim, one of the largest illegal settlements, was established near East Jerusalem. Source: UNOCHA on settlements. First Intifada, 1987 to 1993, popular uprising. Palestinians protested military occupation, settlements, and oppression. Israel responded with mass arrests, curfews, and killings. Over 1,200 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces. Human Rights Watch reports widespread use of torture and administrative detention. Mr. Yitzhak Rabin was a former military chief and a two-time prime minister of Israel, 1974 to 77, 1992 to 95. He became a key figure in the peace process with the Palestinians and signed the Oslo Accords in 1993, winning the Nobel Peace Prize in 1994 alongside Shimon Peres and Yasser Arafat. Oslo I and II agreements, aimed at creating a Palestinian state, divided the West Bank into Area A, Palestinian civil and security control. Area B, Palestinian civil, Israeli security control. Area C, full Israeli control, over 60% of West Bank. Israel continued expanding settlements in Area C, violating the spirit of Oslo. Result, more fragmentation, more checkpoints, no statehood for Palestinians. November 4th, 1995. Rabin attended a mass peace rally in Tel Aviv, organized to support the Oslo Accords. The rally drew over 100,000 people, with banners of peace and songs like Sher LaShalom, Song for Peace. Rabin gave an inspiring speech advocating peace and courage in the face of threats. After the rally ended, Rabin descended the stairs from the stage toward his car. A 26-year-old ultra-Orthodox Israeli Jew and a law student, Yigal Amir, approached the vehicle from the crowd and fired 3 shots at close range with a Beretta 84F pistol. He believed Rabin was betraying the Jewish people by giving land to Palestinians. After the death of Mr. Yitzhak Rabin, Prime Minister of Israel's Second Intifada, 2000 to 2005. Trigger, Ariel Sharon's visit to Al-Aqsa. The uprising led to intense violence. Over 4,000 Palestinians and 1,000 Israelis were killed. Israel used airstrikes, assassinations, and built the separation wall inside West Bank territory. Source of information, Amnesty International, 2000 to 2005 reports, Gaza blockade and wars. In 2005, Gaza disengagement. Israel withdrew settlers from Gaza but retained full control over its borders, airspace, and sea. 2006, Hamas won Palestinian elections. Israel imposed a blockade with Egypt's help. 11. Wars on Gaza. 2008 to 2009, Operation Cast Lead. Approximately 1,400 Palestinians killed. 2012, 2014, Protective Edge. 2021 and 2023 wars followed. Use of white phosphorus, shelling of schools, and targeting civilian infrastructure widely documented. Sources: UN Fact-Finding Mission, Goldstone Report 2009, Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International 2023 to 2024, Gaza War, context after Hamas attack on October 7, 2023. Israel launched a massive assault on Gaza after a Hamas attack. Over 30,000 Palestinians killed, including thousands of children. UN and human rights groups accused Israel of collective punishment and potential war crimes. Sources: UNOCHA Gaza Emergency Updates, Al Jazeera, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty coverage of 2023 to 24 Gaza War. My dear friends, everybody knows that the Zionist Israeli regime is destroying the peaceful world fabric with the help of the USA. How they are killing innocent children, women, and civilians. Still, most of the regimes are helping them. The ironic aspect of the helping hand with Israeli genocides, the Arab Muslims, and the USA backing and helping them to perpetuate the misery upon innocent children, women, and citizens systematically, one after another country for their main agenda, that is, they are making the ground for their Messiah. But as per Islam, the so-called Jewish Messiah will be the Dajjal, means Antichrist. Eventually, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam will come from the lineage of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi salam's daughters and Ali alayhi salam. Isa ibn Maryam, real Jesus Christ, alayhi salam will descend from heaven as he was ascended alive. Then both of them will destroy the Israeli Zionist regime completely. But before the destruction of the Zionist Israeli regime, the Arab so-called Kingdom Zionist regime will be destroyed, then move to the Zionist Israeli destruction.